Welcome to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, the owner of Lincoln Lending Group right here in Tampa Bay for 23 years. Joined by his incredible co-host, Ksenia Akishina, realtor with Mahara and Associates, Tampa's top real estate company. Together, they have helped finance and close nearly $1 billion of real estate every year. If you're looking for local mortgage or real estate advice, the Business Happy Hour team has been right here on News Radio WFLA for over a decade. Listen right here or find us on the Business Happy Hour YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram at Frank the Bank Cotto. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious mortgage, real estate, and business talk with two of Tampa's top experts. Here's Frank the Bank and Ksenia.
Hey, Tampa Bay, welcome back to the Business Happy Hour radio show, your number one show for all things business and entrepreneurial. I am your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, the owner of Lincoln Lending Group and 813mortgage.com. Going on 23 years here in Tampa Bay. I guess that means we're a pretty legitimate business. I mean, if you're around 20 years, I think you're going to be around a few more years. You're going to notice here on the Instagram Live and when you start hearing the audio that Ksenia Akishina is off today. She has a sick baby boy who needed a little motherly love. So I told her, oh, is that him? I think that's him. Ksenia, go take care of him. We're going to be okay because I have Dana McKay in studio, another professional radio voice. She is the co-host of the Ryan Gorman Show, and she was nice enough to bring her real estate agent who helped make the dream of homeownership come true for Dana. We have Paula Beckford HARRILAL. How you doing, Paula?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
I'm excited to be here with you guys. Definitely.
I am super excited. Is this your first time on radio?
First time on radio, yes.
Dana, you didn't drag her in the studio yet? This is the first time?
No,
this is the first time.
So for whatever goes wrong, it's not on me, okay?
Don't worry, Paula.
Don't
you
blame
weren't
the rookie.
No. We always blame the rookie. That's the truth. But anyway, no, you're going to do great. Only thing you got to remember on radio is just talk into the mic.
Okay.
That's the most important thing so they can hear your voice loud and clear. And other than that, we've got our Instagram Live. If you guys are watching, you have any questions, you're welcome to post them up here. We'll keep an eye out for any of our buyer and our listener questions. Today's show is going to be exciting. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to learn a little bit about who Paula Beckford HARRILAL is and where did she get her real estate start and what does she like to sell and what does she like to do. We're going to talk about Dana's first-time home buyer story. And then probably in the third segment, we are going to give perspective today. It's pretty rare we get a chance to do this. We're going to talk about, Dana's going to tell her story of perspective as a buyer. You know, how did the process go? I'm going to ask her some questions about before you close and after you close, because I know you've probably got some stories.
Yes.
Let's give some advice to some listeners. Maybe they're in your position and they're thinking about buying something, but a lot happens after you purchase, right? Maybe it's receiving mail that's not yours.
Oh, yes.
Right? We might have a story about that. Paula might have one as well. Maybe Dana will give us some advice on what do you buy and what do you not buy? Because I'll tell you what, when you become a homeowner, you have a whole house that you can fill with stuff.
And I am doing that right now.
Right?
Yes.
Are you in the house filling time?
I am. I'm in the house filling time and the house projects time of just and emptying my bank account, filling the house, emptying my savings account.
That happened. So we're going to give some advice on how you can possibly keep more money in the bank account and still fill the house. Paula's going to give some tips to buyers about things they can do to prepare for the process, maybe what they should be looking for, what you should be telling your real estate agent. And then, of course, lonely old me. I'm going to talk about the finance side after they're done. And we're going to wrap it all together by the 4 segments so you guys are fully informed on what you should and shouldn't do from a couple radio celebrities and a real estate celebrity here in studio today. So it's going to be a great show. I always like to start the show, I do a little monologue, but I didn't really put one together because I wanted to have more time for us. And now that I learned about some of these stories.
We've got a lot of stories to
We got
tell.
tons of stories. One thing we got in real estate is stories.
We are
It's
going to
so
skip
great
that.
Because every time Paula and I would get together, because she showed me a lot of houses, we would just end up standing in the kitchen of whatever house, even if I wasn't going to buy it, talking and telling stories.
Right.
Oh, yeah. No, tons of stories. I mean, so first of all, thank you guys again for having me with you today. I'm super excited about this segment because one of the things I do love is first-time home buyers. It is a magic like you've never experienced before. And, it's great. It was a wonderful experience working with you for first time, and it's a relationship that is going to continue. Your team was phenomenal throughout the process, and it was the process that is needed to make a deal successful. Because a lot of times people think it starts with a realtor. So I get calls, hey, I want to buy a house. And my first question is, thank you for calling me, da-da-da. Have you been pre-approved, pre-qualified? And then it's like, womp, womp. And it's like, well, I was using those online, calculators for mortgage. And then your eyes get big. Because one of the things we know is that those calculators default to like a 20% down payment, which most people don't have. Those calculators hardly ever take into consideration taxes, homeowners insurance, and all the things that make up a mortgage, So when we talk about the principal, the interest, tax, insurance, it forgets the TI, the PI, and it just makes it's got a PI, no TI. So we're missing a significant component. And then people are like, oh, I'm looking at this house for $700,000. Of course you are, because you don't have the other component. And then it's like
it looks like you can afford it, but you can't.
But you can't. And then when you're like, okay, you start talking, and I'm thinking, well, roughly it's going to be about this. What do you have for a down payment? And then, you either get one of two things. Either people are ready, kind of like ready, but they didn't do that pre-approval process. Or it's like, well, my friend said they got da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and they want to replicate the deal. And I'm thinking, unless you got a scratch-off ticket, it's not going to happen for you, right? As I'm listening along, I'm just like, yes, that's the part. It's not going to happen for you. So the most important thing is to get the pre-approval process, honest to God. If you don't have a lender, find a realtor. They can connect you with definitely amazing lenders.
Yeah.
But if you don't know where to start, then start with a lender, and a lender can also connect you with a realtor. And I think people forget that part of it because it's not just about the realtor. There has to be a lender. There's got to be somebody to close the deal, whether it's a title company or attorney. There's got to be somebody to give you insurance on a property. So there are so many hands in the pocket. I think people just think realtor, but we are a village of professionals that bring this together to make homeownership possible. So yeah.
Yeah, Paula, you are.
Paula's taking over the show.
Dana, I'm gone. I'm going to the bathroom. She's a radio show host. Did she say she's never done radio before?
I have not done radio before. No.
Are you a public announcer?
No, a couple of people have said to me, you need to have a podcast. And I'm just like, I don't have the bandwidth, no pun intended. But I'm like, I think I have the bandwidth to take on one more thing.
You've got the knowledge, you've got the voice, you just carry. That is awesome.
Thank you.
I don't think I don't think Dana and I really have to do too much today.
No.
We're just going to
prompt.
So
you want me to ask you some questions?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That would literally be a first. So I would love that. But, wow. So I already love you to death. We're gonna kill it here. You said a couple things. I'm gonna go backwards a little bit. We went right into it, by the way. So we're just gonna go into it, Dana. PITI. You threw something out there that a lot of listeners. Do you know what PITI is, Dana?
I don't. I'm sure that I probably do. I understand it, but I don't know what PITI is. What does it stand for?
All right. I'll do it. I'm the math guy.
Let Frank talk. Let Frank talk.
No. Frank talks all day long. PITI is principal, interest, tax, and insurance. So what Paula meant when she said that so eloquently is she was saying that, listen, you guys are going and running your payments online. Like Dana would find a house and be like, oh, this $400,000 house is exactly what I want. And then she would go to the mortgage calculator and type in the $400,000 and it would pop in an interest rate. Let's say it put in 6.5, I don't know. And it would pop out a payment, and that payment might be $3,000 a month. Just throwing something out there. That's not real. I didn't actually run that. And then the client would get all excited. And then they'd go to Paula and be like, Paula, this is the house I want. It's $3,000 a month. And then Paula would be the one, a lot of times, would probably give them the bad news to say, well, you only calculated 75% of your payment because you have to do the TI, the taxes and insurance. And then sometimes you have an HOA fee.
Correct.
Sometimes you have flood insurance. And this, you said it so awesome because this literally happened yesterday. Driving home, I was going over an estimate with a gentleman, and I was showing him, okay, this is the amount of money you need to close. This is what your payment is. And when I said the payment, he got real quiet. And Paula and I know from being in the business, quiet means, oh crap, which I said the right word. But anyway, so I'm like, is that not what you were expecting? He goes, well, I was expecting the payment to be about $1,600. Well, it's funny because I look at the good faith estimate, whatever you call it, and the PI was $1,597.
There you go.
So he did look up his principal and interest payment with a mortgage calculator, and he got it, but he forgot that there's tax and insurance on this house, and this one also had an HOA fee. So when we added that to the $1,600 roughly, it put him at like $2,300. So it's pretty big difference. So it's very important, like Paula said, yes, you can talk to the real estate agent, but don't get offended if the agent says, I really need you to talk to a finance guy, because they need us to run these numbers for you so that you know what you're getting into. So how did that go for you, Dana?
Oh, well, it went great because Paula and I would go look at a house, and I knew what my down payment was going to be. I knew what my budget was, but Paula and I will go look at a house, and then we would reach out to Jeff at Lincoln Lending, you know, a member of your team, and say, okay, can you run the numbers for us on this house? And they would come back with what the taxes were going to be on that house, what the principal would be, insurance, all of it, and then come up with an estimate of what my monthly payment would be. With
everything
included in it, yes. And that was really, really helpful because it gave me a much better, even from doing the first one, then I had a better idea of, okay, you know, even if the price of the house ends up varying by $20,000 this way or the other way, or the taxes vary by a couple thousand, I have a general idea of what I'm going to need to come up with in order to get this house.
Exactly. And for the most part, we'll take a break in here in a second, but for the most part, the insurance is about the same. If you're looking in similar priced neighborhoods, unless it has flood insurance. So, you know, if somebody tells you $3,000 a year for insurance, if there's no flood insurance, you're probably going to be around $3,000 if you're looking at that same price home. It's the taxes, Paula and I know, that can greatly deviate.
Greatly vary from one house to the house next door.
Yeah, the house next door. And I know we got to take a break, but I'll say this really fast. It has to do with how long the person has owned the home. Okay. And if they are homesteaded. So if they've owned their home for 20 years and they haven't sold, and that house tax has been grandfathered in, it's only gone up 3% a year for the last 20 years. If they just bought the house, it may have gone up 25% in the last year. With that, we're going to take a break. When we get back, Paula and I are going to break this down. We're going to ask more questions from our good friend Dana here about first-time home buyers. So stay tuned to the Business Happy Hour. I'll be back in just a minute. All right. Try something on your phone. I've never tried this before to get rid of the sound coming through. Will your Android can it be said to like you're on AirPods or something like that? Where it's sending the volume somewhere else instead of through your speaker?
I don't think it's my phone that's giving us that sound.
You think it's Paula's?
I heard it. I remember hearing it last time.
I know, I did too. Well, actually, James, is it coming through on your side? The echo? He's in the middle. Sorry, Instagrammers. No echo? Well, if nobody's hearing it, then it's not really a big deal. Let me ask, are you...
No, it is my...
It's always the Samsung.
But I don't understand how.
That's why we're going to do the debate.
We're going to do this debate.
This is so funny. All right, we're just going to double check this real quick. Are you guys here?
Yeah, blame the Android.
All the best mortgage or real estate advice from Tampa Bay's top experts. It's the Business Happy Hour with Frank the Bank Cotto and Senia Kishina.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Business Happy Hour. Paula, Beckford, HARRILAL brought us right into the real estate talk. Like I said, I skipped out on the monologue, but I am going to go back up real quick because last night was Monday Night Football. And them Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they didn't pull it off. Although,
No.
Did you watch it? Did you pick up?
I don't watch football, but I heard it was a terrible game. And then Mike Evans got hurt pretty bad. He broke his collarbone.
It was bad. Like he hit the turf, and he just froze. He didn't move a muscle.
Out. Yeah,
it's what it looked like. Everybody said he got a concussion too.
Yeah,
it didn't even look like that bad of a hit to the ground. And the really sad part is, he had that catch. He actually made the catch, and you could tell something was terribly wrong because he hit the ground and then just let go of the ball. And he literally, it was scary. He was out frozen, and then they ended up carting him off. It was a collarbone. And they're saying, I heard that's actually a really bad bone to break.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
It's hard.
It's up here, and oh, man. So they're saying, now good news. They're saying, because we got the bye week coming up as well, that he could definitely be back for the playoffs. It depends on how the surgery goes, which, can you imagine that? These guys are out there getting beat to death. They're going to give him surgery, and they're like, you'll be back on the field in 4 weeks.
I know. No, that is really crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
So, Buccaneers, we did get back Egbuka last night. They did a great job. I know Godwin's coming back. You guys can still do it. Baker Mayfield, as usual, a great effort. But, man, I will say Detroit Lions, I cannot believe I'm saying this out loud, but Detroit Lions, they looked good. They looked really, really good. Great team. Only thing I will complain about is that terrible call with Otten, where he caught the ball and the defender had his hands on the ball, and he came to the ground with his hand on the ball the whole time. And you ever heard in baseball, tie goes to the runner? Well, in football, if the receiver and the defender both have their hands on the ball and they hit the ground, tie is supposed to go to the receiver. So very interesting. They called it back and gave Detroit the ball, even though Otten had his arm and shoulder on the ball the entire time. So that's my complaint this morning. That's the Frank the Bank complaint on the Business Happy Hour. Now we're going to go back into real estate. We have Paula Beckford HARRILAL. She was the representing agent for Dana McKay, helped her find this dream home. And I promise by the third segment, we're going to go into perspectives, even we already started doing it a little bit. If you do need a great real estate agent, I already know that she knows her stuff because she just took it to the house here.
Yes, she did.
Right?
Yes, she did. And she was amazing helping me because I'm a first-time home buyer. And when Paula and I actually played bunco together, we live in the same neighborhood. And, I knew she was a great person. And then I'm like, you got to help me find this house. And we started the process over a year ago.
Yes, you did.
She took me to so many different houses. I didn't know what an escrow was. I didn't know anything. I was clueless about all of it. And we talked one night for an hour, and she just explained everything to me, what the process was going to be like, what I needed to get together in order to start, going through everything. And then we had to wait a while for me to actually be ready to buy the home. And it was a long process, but she was right there with me, basically holding my hand every step of the way. And even still now, the deal is done, and she's like, you got to get your homestead exemption done. You got to get on that. Yes. So I'm going to take a second. First of all, let me give you your phone number, but then I want to break down what Dana just said because it's really important, because I honestly think real estate agents, especially buyer's agents, get kind of a bad rep because people are like, these guys I'm going to have to pay them a commission, especially some of these new laws where sellers aren't paying buyers commission, which, by the way, I don't see that happening very often at all. Paula and I will talk about that. But you worked with Paula for a year. Yes.
Before you found the house.
Yes.
And you're still working with her, which means Paula is still working. And people think, all they do is I pick out a house on Zillow and they let me in and then they get paid all this money. Guys, yes, that happens sometimes, okay? And when that happens for myself and Paula, we're doing backflips because we're like, yes, we actually have a short time frame, because you have to do the math. Even if Paula makes $10,000 on a real estate closing, do the math. If you put in 100 hours, that $10,000 is not very much money. Even if you put in 50 hours, it's really not that much money that you're getting paid.
And that's such a great point. People really don't understand when they talk about the payment for realtors. It's commission-based,
right?
And it's hard for people to conceptualize like a percentage of anything, right?
Right.
Because it's such an expensive deal. So it's expensive for the buyer and, to the seller as well, too, because a lot of times there's deferred maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting money in to actually make it sell, or it's coming out at them at closing. So everyone sees all this money on the table. And it's like, I often feel the easiest grab is like the realtor, right? So like, the realtor's money, grab the realtor's money, grab the realtor's money. Because it's like, oh, they're really nice and like they're empathetic. And it's like, give them the money. And it's like, wait a second here. Your circumstances don't change our cost.
Nope.
It really doesn't. And that's such an important thing, I think, for even realtors to begin to advocate, because a great realtor is invaluable to you throughout the lifetime of that property. It is not supposed to be about the transaction. It's about the transformation.
Ooh.
And that information must go from one person to another so everyone can really be successful in the process, because everyone deserves home ownership.
So before I ask this question, I've got to give out your phone number real quick. It's 813-337-9895. Very easy. It's the local 813 number, 337-9895. That is Paula's dedicated real estate line, she told me. So they can call anytime, right?
Absolutely. They can call.
They can text?
WhatsApp me. They can text me.
All right.
Listen, everyone has a different schedule. People live in different time zones that are moving here. And my job is to be flexible to you. So if you work a midnight job and the only time you can text me is on your break, I'm going to answer you in the morning. I'm not going to stay up for the call, but I promise you to answer it in the morning. And I'm also respectful when I work with my clients and they tell me where they live or what they prefer, to work with them too. Because like I said, in order to make this possible, we all have to flex to each other's schedule. So that's just something that I personally do in the way in which I conduct my business.
Well, one important thing, and you probably already asked this question, we always ask our clients in the very beginning is, what is your preferred method of communication? What do you think of that, Dana? Isn't that a nice thing to like, hey, I'm a morning person. I can only text you, or I'm an email person. That should make the client feel good, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm pretty much, anything goes.
Yep.
I'm definitely more of a texter, and then obviously there were some things that she would email me, and then once in a while, like if it needed a phone call or if it was a more kind of in-depth conversation, then I usually like to do, and this is with everyone, text me, hey, is now a good time for me to call you? Sometimes, and not with Paula, but with some people, it's like that phone call pops up and you're like, why are they calling me right now out of the blue?
Yes.
Like, there are some people, if I see their name pop up and they're calling me, I think, oh my gosh, what's wrong?
Right. Something's going wrong. And then how about the thing when they call you twice in a row?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mm-mm.
It happened yesterday in a lunch meeting with a new real estate agent, and we're sitting down, and I got the same number came in 3 times. I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, I got to pick it up. I don't know if that's my kid's school. I don't know if something's going on. So, by the way, guys, don't call people 3 times in a row unless it's an emergency. With that, there's no emergencies in real estate. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, more with Paula Beckford HARRILAL. And don't forget, you can reach her at 813-337-9895. We'll be back with Dana McKay, Paula, and Frank the Bank. Stay tuned. Woo! All right, we're killing it. Now, when we get back into this, let's go into the stories, like we said. And we'll start, let's start with you. Let's start with Dana. And you've kind of already gone into it a little bit, but just say whatever you want to say about, I want to do the before and after, right? So just, we kind of prep a little bit. What advice do you have for people before and then after you close? We could even jump into a story there if you wanted to. If you want to say, like, get into the mail thing a little bit.
Well, they're ready to call the cops on me because, remember, they thought I was moving you in.
Yep, I told that story. I told that story on the last one we did together.
Yes. I'm bringing in her closing gifts, and they called it the
two
seller.
of you are prone to police activity, I must say. So, James, don't call the cops. All right, we're ready when you are.
Welcome to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, the owner of Lincoln Lending Group right here in Tampa Bay for 23 years. Joined by his incredible co-host, Senia Akishina, realtor with Mahara & Associates, Tampa's top real estate company. Together, they have helped finance and close nearly $1 billion of real estate every year. If you're looking for local mortgage or real estate advice, the Business Happy Hour team has been right here on News Radio WFLA for over a decade. Listen right here or find us on the Business Happy Hour YouTube channel or follow us on Instagram at Frank the Bank Cotto. Now sit back, Relax and get ready for some serious mortgage, real estate, and business talk with two of Tampa's top experts. Here's Frank the Bank and Senia.
All right, Tampa Bay. Sorry, Senia's not here, and neither is Frank's monologue. Instead, we got a monologue from Paula Beckford, HARRILAL, which was awesome. We learned what PITI was, principal, interest, tax, and insurance. Very important because the devil's in the details. By the way, I'm going to throw this out. Paula, you'll probably appreciate it before we go into the stories of buyer, agent, and originator. Now I'm losing my mind. I think it's very important that people understand that a buyer's agent serves a purpose.
Absolutely.
Okay. A lot of people will tell you, oh, well, you can just go make an offer with the listing agent. But can you just give somebody 2 reasons why it's important to have a buyer's agent representing you? Why did Dana need you when she could have just gone directly to listing agent?
Absolutely. You definitely want somebody who is representing you. That is the most important thing on earth. A listing agent is already under contract with the seller of that home. Now, they have the opportunity to be what's called a transaction broker. Yes, they could represent both sides, but think about the scenario. You go to buy a car, you walk in, right? The car dealer salesperson is representing who? The dealership and himself, because they want their commission, right?
Yep.
So you're negotiating somewhat against yourself in that scenario. And that really is often in situations when you go directly. And especially if you're a first-time buyer and you don't understand that a property inspection period is a must. That's there to protect your escrow, your investment if you want to back out of it. There are other timelines in that contract that are critical. And I'm not saying that a listing agent is going to do that, but what I'm saying is their goal, and I am both, by the way, a listing and also a buyer's agent, so let me just disclose that. Your goal is to move that property, right? And at all expense, that train is not going to stop.
Right.
So you want to be represented, someone who's going to take the time to handhold you, nurture you, that's going to look after you way after that transaction is done. And it's important because there's a lot of things in the transaction that we all assume that buyer is understanding. Title is sending you things to take a look at the title insurance. You're like, what is this? Is my name spelled correctly? And then you may see all of these things on this schedule that the seller is responsible for closing out. And you may get scared and say, holy mackerel, I'm backing out of this deal. You don't need to back out the deal. The seller and their listing agent need to close out that stuff,
yep.
Not the buyer. But you don't understand so much that's involved. And it is a legal contract. And there is money involved, a significant amount of money. And there's a lot of money to lose if you don't manage it properly. So absolutely, if you are a buyer, get a buyer's agent. You need to be oriented as to what to expect throughout the process. And also working with the lender. And if there are issues, let's say, even within the lender, let's just say there was an issue with the loan originator and it's not getting back to the original person you spoke to. All of those communications have to mesh. And we want all to talk to each other and figure it out. And often a buyer, especially a first-time home buyer, is a little apprehensive to step forward and say, I'm raising my hand, I'm a little confused. And that's where your agent comes in. There should be no ambiguity. You should be going into this thing by the time you sign all of those numerous documents at closing.
Hundreds
and hundreds of pieces of paper you're going to sign. You want to make sure that you are doing the right thing and you want to be comfortable with that purchase because you're going to be living with it for a while.
That's right. Speaking of living with it, Dana, and that was a great explanation, by the way. And
it
if you need more,
absolutely was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bottom line is you need representation.
Absolutely.
You absolutely do. I mean, just starting out with me because it was the first time that I've bought a home, there were so many things that needed to be done that I had no idea about. Everything from the escrow to, I knew you had to get a home inspection, but I didn't necessarily know exactly what that involved.
Right.
And Paula told me what things I should definitely do. I mean, the mold inspection is a little bit more, but I went with doing that because I wanted to make sure that there was no mold in my house. And they actually did find a little bit of mold, and we said, okay, well, they've got to fix it. And the house was re-inspected, and they fixed it.
Nice.
So just everything like that, and the timelines for everything, and what to expect when. And then things like, getting the homeowner's insurance. She was super helpful when it came to that because I didn't know what to expect. What do I need? How much is it going to cost? I got all these different quotes. What's there's something about like the replacement cost or something.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the heck that meant.
And that's part of her homeowner's insurance. So these questions come up, and she's not even an insurance agent, but I'm willing to bet Paula answered them for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just very, very knowledgeable. And now with, I haven't done it yet, Paula, so I got to change my address, and I got got to get my homestead exemption. It's on my list of things to do. But there were just so many different things that I had no idea about. And Paula told me what to expect. And then she did so much of it for me that there was so many things that I didn't even have to worry about with this. So real estate agents, buyers, not just somebody that shows you the house and then, sells the house and that's it. I mean, she did a lot of work for me.
And I will say not all of them are created equal. This is the first time I've met Paula in person, and in 30 seconds, I knew she knew what she was doing. So interview them, find the right buyer's agent for you. You need to get along with them because they're the ones who are going to save your butt if S hits the fan. By the way, you reach her at 813-337-9895. That's 337-9895. So, Dana, what other advice? You've given a lot of advice on kind of the before because we're mixing it in with Paula, but is there any specific things that you would tell besides, having a buyer's agent and asking questions, anything that really stuck out you tell people before they go into contract or even maybe during the process that they should do or don't do?
I actually used ChatGPT to help me go through a list of things to keep in mind, and it shot out this huge list of stuff things to check in the house. Like for me, this might sound ridiculous, but the rental house I was living in had terrible water pressure. And so it was very important to me that the house that I bought had good water pressure.
Yes.
So I was like, we got to check these showers out and make sure that I have good, just like little things like that.
Yeah.
I also used, the house that I ended up buying, there was this brick room. I called it the brick dungeon. It had like this brick overlay and these industrial looking shelves. And, when Paula and I first looked at the house, I was kind of like, what the heck am I going to do with that room? It's ugly. What did they, use that room for? To them, it was an asset to the house. It was a selling point because it was their style. They put money into creating that. And I remember hearing Paula on the phone with their agent saying, well, that isn't necessarily everybody's style. Or it was something very delicate like that,
Nice couth on that one.
No, yeah. So I ended up using ChatGPT to, give me some mock-ups of what that room might look like if I painted it. And I painted it and I turned it into this amazing, it's my home studio now. I had my brother come and paint the shelves all black.
Awesome.
And we painted the brick white, all that stuff. I mean, Paula helped me pick out my paint colors. And I don't know if every agent is like this, but the people that she knows to do the work that needed to be done on the house have been amazing. She recommended a tile guy for me who did her house, and he's going to do my backsplash for me tomorrow. The painter she recommended is amazing. So she's, the house is sold, the deal is done, and I'm still like, Paula, I need a tile guy. She's super helpful. So your real estate agent, if you have the best one, Paula, then they will be a resource for you after, you buy the home too. Yep.
Yeah.
And we've had so much fun doing it, too.
We've had a blast doing it as well, too.
Well, a lot of times good buyer's agents always tell me that they end up with great friends. And I know that's you, Paula.
Yeah.
It's, and you guys spent a year together before. So you kind of sometimes spend more time with your real estate agent than you do your spouse or your significant other. And, you're learning. But the fact, what I picked up on after your comment there, Dana, was the team. That she had the team ready to go, and you got this long printout from ChatGPT that I'm sure was a little stressful. Oh my God.
A little overwhelming, and I could go, but I knew that I could go to Paula with any questions. And then there were a lot of things that she, told me about that I had no idea that were even things that I was going to have to do or worry about.
All right. Now, how about after you close on the house? I mean, now we already. I guess you did say like some of the renovations and stuff. Anything weird happen? Any advice for people?
Well, when you move, change your address.
Does that go for the previous owners and renters?
Well, actually, it does. So we had met the guy who was renting the home when we went to look at it. We had met him. He was home that day, and really nice guy, whatever. And then after I moved in, they moved out about a month before I moved in.
Oh, okay.
And then probably 2 weeks later, I'd been in the house for about 2 weeks. He knocked on the door, and I was like, oh, hi. He said, I used to live here. My wife had a package delivered here by accident. Did you get anything? And I said, yes, actually I did. And a little girl's dress had been delivered, and I opened it because I didn't know what it was. I thought it was for me. I have a million packages coming out.
You just moved in.
Tearing through them all. And I'm like, what is this? And then I look and see the label. I'm like, oh, this must have been for the people who used to live here. I knew that they had a little girl, so I put it aside. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get it to them. What do I do?
Yeah.
And it had been a few days. I put it aside. So when he came to the door, I said, yes, here it is. I'm so sorry I opened it, but I thought it was for me. So he said, did you get anything else? And I said, no, that's it. So he left. Next day he comes back. And he says, did you get any other packages for my wife? And I said, no, I didn't. And so he pulls up a screenshot that says package delivered October 9th in at mailbox. And then he says, well, it says it was delivered in or at the mailbox. And I said, well, I've checked the mail. The mail's down the street. We have that, the community mail thing. And I said, I haven't gotten it. I've checked my mail a couple of times since then. So then he gets his wife on the phone and on speakerphone, and she accuses me of stealing the package and says that she's going to get the police involved.
Oh.
It was a women's outfit that she had purchased, and so she assumed that I stole it. Now, that outfit was not even my style. It's nothing I would ever wear. And I'm like, get out of here. You're going to accuse me of stealing your package?
It better have been a Versace dress or something
it
for her
to. It was from Kohl's.
Oh,
I don't even
my,
shop at
come
Kohl's.
on, Lord. So, moral of that story, if
Change
you
your
moved
address.
out,
change your address.
And don't be a jerk about it. Who's going to get the police involved
I was
for
like,
a
they're going to
package?
laugh at you.
You should have been like, call him. Call the sheriff and have him come over here. But before that, I'm going to use my stand the ground law and tell you to get off my front porch.
That's right, yeah.
Look that one up, guys. We're going to take a quick break on the Business Happy Hour. Then we're going to ask Paula Beckford HARRILAL what is her perspective on the before and the after, any tips that she might have for home buyers. Maybe there's something you shouldn't do when trying to buy your new house. Stay tuned to the Business Happy Hour with Frank the Bank. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, this is the last segment.
Perfect.
So we'll give you all the time here, and then I'll give a couple tips at the very end. I'll just kind of bounce off of whatever you say.
Okay, perfect.
Let's see. We did do you need a buyer's agent? That was great.
We talked about the taxes.
Yep. Taxes, we're good there. I mean, whatever comes to your mind.
Okay, perfect.
On the tip. And I'll wave you if we get past about the halfway mark.
Okay,
I'll wave you so that I can do it because I want to give you and Dana the chance to say something at the end.
Oh, I have
Perfect.
one more piece. I have one more piece of advice that I want to give. If I can have one
then I'll
more
go back
second.
to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is your show.
Yeah.
It's like she doesn't have her own show. I mean, right? Man, you hear that, James? One day.
That's Ryan's show.
It's Ryan's show. When's Ryan going to get sick so Frank the Bank can come in for Ryan?
You be careful. Be careful what you wish for, Frank.
I know. Well, we'll have to record it. So all right, rock and roll.
Let's get back to the Business Happy Hour radio show with your host, Frank the Bank Cotto, owner of Lincoln Lending Group, and his co-host, Senia Akishina, realtor with Mahara and Associates.
All right, Tampa Bay, this is our last segment. I've had such a great show with Paula the real estate agent. By the way, I'm going to give her number again just in case, 813-337-9895. If you can't tell that she represents her buyers well, you're not listening to the show. And I have a feeling she probably represents her sellers very well. In the very end of the show, I'm going to announce, and Paula has not even heard about this, so we'll talk about it at lunch, but I'm going to announce a new buy before you sell product for you sellers out there that will blow your mind. I'll give you a little teaser. We're going to pay off your house for you. And then you're going to sell your house with no mortgage payment. Very interesting. But you have to change your address first if you're selling. Dana, there was another story you were talking in the break that we want to tell before we get into Paula's.
Oh, it's one more piece of advice. And I think that this is something that most people, if you already own a home, you know it. But the importance of getting quotes when you're having work done on your house. So I had a lanai built on the house that I had with my ex-husband. And they did a great job. So I called them to give me a quote when I wanted to get my lanai screened in this house, $3,800. And I'm like, that kind of seems high. My friend said, you got to go with the company that did mine. I guarantee it'll be less. $1,800 for the same job, a $2,000 difference.
What?
Then again, I want to get the backsplash done in my kitchen, and I got a quote from somebody I saw advertising on one of the local, neighborhood groups, $1,500. And I said, that seems a little bit high for that job. I said, Paula, do you have a tile guy? And she said, yes. He came over yesterday, $500 for the same job.
Paula, you are my new friend. I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
I do have some things I need done.
I figured it might vary by a couple hundred, but the
half?
fact that the first quote it was half, and this quote it was a
third.
Yes.
See, kids, this is why you need to pay attention to school, because Dana and I just figured out 50% and 30%,
That's
just
right.
like that. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
That's really good
huge
advice,
deal.
though.
Yeah, no, it is,
Get
and
quotes.
So now I know that you've got to get quotes. And the two people that came in cheaper are people that were personally recommended to me by friends who have already used them and trust them.
So I do want that screen recommendation. So we'll do that when we get done, because I'm thinking about tearing mine down. And if my wife is listening, she is smiling right now, I promise. But we are thinking about rebuilding a whole new screen. So maybe, honey, if it comes in at $1,800, we're in. It's not going to be that cheap. But anyway, all right. Let's go over to Paula. Yes. Let's do a little bit of advice, Paula, for buyers, either before or after, whatever you want to do.
So I want to talk to my buyers out there. So most important thing, like I said, we're going to start out by, first of all, getting a pre-approval. It is critical to the process, because if you don't know how much you can afford, we are all wasting our time. And that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Not only is this about the pre-approval, but it's also about what do you have in the bank? Because remember, you're going to have to do a deposit. There are things like an appraisal that you have to pay for. There are many things, your property inspection. So many things come out of pocket before you even get to closing, right? And then there's the closing costs. But I have a running joke I always say to everyone. I don't want you to spend every dollar, because the worst thing you can do is put your mattress on top of your car to move, okay? I don't want to see that.
I've seen it.
I've seen it. This is not the days when we move out of our parents' home and we're throwing it on and we're holding it on each side with our friends. We don't want to be house poor. And, to go to Dana's point, understanding what's important to you in that home you're going to buy, and potentially do you do it now or do you do it later, is also critical, right? We want to have those estimates, and we want to try and do as much of that during the property inspection period, because if it's critical for you to have a screen patio, we want to know the pricing on that, because if that's going to make the difference between moving forward or not moving forward, we're going to do that, right? So we want to know what your budget is. Here's something else. We're in a market which is a buyer's market, which is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time to buy. I can't begin to speak enough about, if you want to buy, this is your opportunity. The spotlight is on you guys, right? Because you can negotiate things that in another market are not going to exist, okay? And one of those things has to do with a seller credit. So often people look at their pre-approval, and usually there's a little bit of flex in that number, right? And what we want to do is also determine what makes most sense for you and your budget. Are you in a better position maybe to pay a couple of dollars more, but get back a significant seller credit? Because here's the example, and Dana will know I say it to everyone, okay? When we look at what the difference would be, and often it's like maybe let's say it's like $50, $60, right? I go to you, what's easier to find, $50, $60 a month, or to try and rebuild $15,000 or $20,000 in the bank? And most people are going to say to me, $50, $60 is easy. I'm not going out for some sushi. I'm not going to have coffee maybe 3 times a week. It doesn't take a lot in your lifestyle to adjust to find that difference. I'm even talking like up to even like $100, It's not a lot to adjust in your budget, but to rebuild your savings takes a lot more. So we work with the lender and we figure out what model works best for you. So as I'm doing offers with Dana on her home, what I'm doing is I'm working with Frank's team, and I was working with Jeff. Got to give a shout out to Jeff because he was phenomenal.
There you go, Jeff.
I'm working with Jeff, and I'm like, okay, we're looking at this home. And the other thing that I do, which you want to make sure your realtor is doing as well too, I don't care what county you're buying in, there's something that's called a tax estimator. And you can go out to that estimator. You can put what the offer price is on the home, and you can basically figure out what the taxes are going to be. Now, it's a range, but it's still going to put you in a better position. And I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people forget about. We have a great thing in Florida, in addition to homestead. There's something called Save Our Homes. There's portability. I don't want to get into that, but that's another thing to cut some dollars. And there's also other exemptions. There's widow exemptions. There's exemptions for veterans. But we have a lot of veterans in our community that are basically completely disabled. And when you have a service-connected disability and you're fully disabled, there are a significant component of your taxes that you are not financially responsible for.
Right.
And that can throw somebody's mind. So I've had situations where somebody sees a home and they're like, what? This home is $10,000. Why aren't we looking at this one that's like $1,300? I said, we're looking at all of them. But let me explain why that person is $1,300 and the other neighbor is $10,000. And that's when the estimator is critical, because you don't want a lender that's just going to grab that person's taxes.
Right.
Because what's going to happen next year is one of two things. You're either going to have to refi the house, or if you can't pay it, you're going to be a short seller. We don't want either one of those things.
Right.
So having as much information as possible to make you financially astute and ready for this purchase is critical to the process. So again, we want to look at the purchase. We want to look at how much money is in the bank to think about all the things we have to do. We got to work with the lender on that process. Once we do that, the magic kicks in. We make the offer. We decide what's best for you. We go back and forth, and then we take off. And from there, it's like somebody sends you in a rocket. Okay.
Yes. And speaking of, we're going to rocket ourselves right off the air because they're going to kick us out of the studio here. Dana, it is always a pleasure having you on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me on again. So much fun.
Yes, and we're going to do it again, I promise. And Paula Beckford, HARRILAL, amazing show. Again, you can reach her at 337-9895. And if you forget all those numbers, just go to contactfrankthebank.com, and I will get you in touch with Paula to help you find that dream home. I did promise to talk to you guys about the buy before you sell, so I'm going to do it on Instagram. So you have to tune into that, but I'll give you a clue. We're going to pay off your house and give you 6 months to sell it with no mortgage payment, and we're going to give you 75% of the equity. You got to go to contactfrankthebank.com to find out how to get this free money that we can use with Paula or any other real estate agent like at Mahar and Associates. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you so much.
It's been a great show. All right, that's it for the radio show. We're going to stay on Instagram here for just a quick second, explain to you guys, and then we're all heading out to lunch together, and we got to get in the car. So it's been a great show here with Dana and Paula. This buy before you sell product is very special. We'll talk about at lunch, but I'll finish it with you guys real quick. It is a special program where we will give you as a seller 75%, so if you ever sell your house, of the value of your house on an interest-free, payment-free bridge loan. So we literally will pay off the balance of your house if you're selling. We will give Paula 6 months to get your house sold, and we will give you the difference in cash. So if you owe $100,000 and it's worth $400,000, 75% is $300,000. We're going to pay off your $100,000 mortgage. There you go, no payment for the 6 months while you sell, and we're going to give you $200,000 to fix up that house to sell it, to fix up the new house you're going to buy, or to pay off debt for closing costs or down payment. It's your money. You can do whatever you want with it. It's a special program with a very small fee. So reach out to contactfrankthebank.com if you're interested as a seller. And I know Paula will be telling her buyers and her sellers about it. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Dana and Paula.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys. All right.